Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing great and having an awesome Thursday and a great start to April. A new month is always a great opportunity um, to start something new, to change things, take opportunities, and think differently somehow. So, um, I should be live now on both LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're on either platforms, please feel free to say hello, introduce yourself. I should be able, she says, to see the chat. So it's active now. So if you have any comments, any thoughts, any questions during the session, please do let me know. And yeah, if you're watching live, then please do introduce yourself, where you're joining from. That'd be great. So today is a bit different. As I've shared on LinkedIn. I've left my awesome job at Unilever, which is an awesome company, great role, and hopefully joining something else soon. And I'll share it once I'm able to. But with that, I thought I'm doing things differently because I've done that. So I've moved across different industries. I've moved from obviously from starting from HP, IT industry to Hilton, where I did hospitality, and then to automotive, Jaguar Land Rover, did a bit of consulting in the middle with College Manchester, which is a social um, enterprise. And I also worked in afterwards, after JLR, went to Unilever. And with that, I felt like I've gained experience, I've done things differently, and this time I'm consciously doing things differently. I guess because I had some learnings from previous moves, and also the mindset changes. So with that, I thought I might as well share that because I wish someone would have shared it with me when I was younger. It would have made my life much different, and yeah, I think I wouldn't have done the same mistakes. So, uh, before I start, this is assuming that you have a role because I think so. There is a community, which is the Get community, where we have like a WhatsApp group, and few people like Chris shared an amazing way of how he manages things, but also in terms of he touched upon okay maybe CVs and updating CVs and networking and so on, which I think that's the whole video in itself, which I'll share later. But I think this video, so big shout out to Chris, thank you very much. If you're watching, let me know. But really appreciate the feedback, and I think yes, definitely, if you need to do that, if you don't have a role yet, that's really need to focus on those points. um, what I'm sharing today is assuming you're moving from a role to the other. And let me share a bit about how I approach it. So there are 5 things that I focus on, okay, when it comes from moving from a role to the other. First is closing the old role. Because in your head, you need to be able to start something new, you need to close the old one. There are lots of learning, hopefully, you've done from the old role. So things that you've done, you'll do differently next time because again, you're gaining experience. Things that you weren't expecting will go so well, but you were a superstar. You've done it brilliantly. And I think those are the moments where you really need to be proud of yourself and in your head know like, you know what, I've nailed that. So I think those are the couple of things where like in my head, I sat down, the role at Unilever, jotted down the things, the learnings for me, what I would do differently next time, what I'm really proud of, what I've really surprised myself as well throughout that role, which was, yeah, acknowledging the success and also acknowledging that I've learned a lot. Um, so that's the first thing. Close the old role, be happy with it, acknowledge the learning, acknowledge the successes. You've done amazing and you've learned so much. So that's the first thing I do. Acknowledging it, reflecting on it, writing it down, closing the old role. Hi, Nandika. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've just seen your chat now. Yeah, you work as a data specialist. Lovely to have you here. Yeah, and send me your questions if you have any. So that's the first thing, is closing the old role. The second thing I really focus on is focus on my health and fitness, because if I'm moving, then probably either I was applying or I've been approached. But in either ways, I went through interviews, done a lot while doing my role itself. So that means that there's so much going on in my life at that time, mentally, and also obviously it affects us physically. So the second bit is I focus on my health and fitness and invest really in it during this transition period. I'm a duathlete, so I run and I cycle and I go to the gym. So that comes with a whole time investment, because it's quite a lot of fitness things that I need to take care of. But because I probably wasn't doing it 100% or wasn't giving it my all during this during the transition, so during the applications and so on, I kind of focus on that during the transition. So okay, now I need to focus on my health. What am I eating? Get back my fitness routine in. Obviously, if you have a healthy body, you have a healthy mind, and that kind of enables me to perform better as well. Which brings me to the third point, which is preparing for the new role. So, and that's why it's the third thing. It's not the first thing I do. The first thing is closing the old role. The second is taking care of my health and fitness. The third is actually focusing on the new role. Because if I've closed it, have the learnings and acknowledge the learning and the successes, have my health and fitness in place, I can actually prepare properly for the new role. And I think that brings me to the point where Ahmed Hani has kind of shared, which again, big shout out to him, which is the training. What does the role need from me? Like, you should know what industry. Is it a new industry you're moving to? That means that, like previously, for example, when I moved from especially moving to automotive was it was very challenging, because there's so much there in terms of also models and car models and lifts, and there's so much going on there. And that was a huge learning for me. It's just understanding the industry, understanding how it works, and understanding the nature. And then moving again to Unilever, it was for me again a lot of learning, because I was like, okay, now what is FMCG all about? What is the product compared to automotive? So it is a learning. Just make sure that you understand the industry really well, but also understand the role. So, and again, that applies if you're even getting promoted. So, what kind of experience do you need? Do you need to focus on your soft skills? Do you need to focus on your technical skills? Do you need to learn something? I remember when I moved from Jaguar Land Rover to Unilever, for example, there's a massive change in the cloud platform that was used. So Jella, and it's all in the news, it uses GCP, Unilever uses Azure. Both are brilliant, but I had to kind of update myself on how things are working and the nature of the platform. And again, moving to Jella from Hilton, I had to understand a bit more the GCP platform. And I think those are the things where, okay, when you're moving, do you need to take any training? Do you need to refresh something that you've kind of put behind because the previous role was different? So that's the bit that really needs to that is important. But also, any soft skills. Does the role need more stakeholder management while you were doing more technical? It's not like you don't have the stakeholder management, but you haven't been doing it recently, or things like that, where you also need to kind of refresh your soft skills. So, so this is the third thing I do. So again, close the old role, take care of my health and fitness, prepare for the new role. The fourth thing I do is there are always some things that you are passionate about, things that you've parked because you were busy, because we always say, oh, I wish I can do this, but I really don't have the time at the moment. And this is the bit that is important. So with this, I'm again assuming that you were able to take a holiday in between. And what I've done, I think, from I've jumped roles, so I've moved from a role to the other, which is completely fine. Like finished on a Friday, started on a Monday, completely okay. But I think during the years, what I've learned is the best thing is really to take, even if it's just a week off. And the way I did it, and I remember I took even 2 weeks off during Jaguar Land Rover transition to Unilever, and I did that through actually my annual holidays. Again, that's assuming you can afford it. You can actually, that's okay for you. But I felt like I needed that break. So if you can afford that mentally, physically, financially, and all that, please do it, because it makes a lot of a difference, even if it's just a week, even if it's a couple of days. So assuming that you were able to take that time off, or even better, you finish the role and then you start the other role like in a month or something. That would be brilliant. But focus on things that you've been putting aside. So for me, for example, I had a few things that, and I'm giving an example of my personal, from my career and personal life. I've my PhD, or my research work at the University of Cambridge. I'm trying to focus on that, or been trying to focus on that over the last couple of weeks. Really focusing on it, just making sure that that is really important, and I bring it up to speed, because I don't know what will happen with a new role, and it's again keeping all the plates spinning somehow. The second thing I focused on, and I think I put it out there yesterday, is updating my personal website, which is, I always done coaching, and I've been doing coaching through Figure It Out for 5 years now. But I really never had the time to update the website properly, um, give it more attention, and I didn't have even like time to kind of add more people, because I was always like, I only do it for very few people, just because I have other things. So I do it because I love it. So I opened like a couple of slots, and I said, okay, I only have 2 slots, and this is what I'm doing, because I'd like to support others, but again, those are the slots only for April. So I know that this is what I'm doing during this period, and I'm taking something else off. So um, that's what I did. And the other thing I did as well was, I did the Get Leadership community. So this is a community for aspiring leaders and leaders who actually are working in different sectors and have passion for data and emerging tech. They have experience, and I'll share more. I'm working with amazing people on the setup at the moment, partnering with them, which we'll definitely share with you more about it in the next, hopefully next week. But yeah, those are the three things that in my head, and obviously some also personal, like there are personal things. There are things that you just put aside, whether it's something at home that needs doing, or anything that needs to be taken care of. So I think that's the fourth thing I do. Really, all the projects or the things that I'm really interested in, but I didn't have the time to kind of sort before. The last thing I do is I take a holiday. And if you know me, you know that I don't know how to take a proper holiday. So I can't switch on completely for a week. It just doesn't happen. Not for me. Definitely not for me. But what I do is I take, even if it's a day off, like a day or two, something where I try to switch off, read, travel, go somewhere nice for the whole day, prepare things for the new role. It can be as simple as even just going out and buying new stuff for the new role, if you know, like the dress code and things like that, and it's different. Um, yeah, it's just making sure that you're enjoying, so that when you move to the new role, you're actually not thinking about, oh, I've been taking that course in preparation the day before, or, working on things the day before. Just like try to make sure that you have a couple of days just before that role. Focus completely on you, on having this setup of saying, I'm relaxed, in just have that holiday, travel somewhere nice, a day trip, weekend trip, if it's you're starting on a Monday. But yeah, this is how I would, yeah, that's what I normally do. So those are the 5 things. And again, I'm speaking here about that you have a role lined up. Um, but those are the 5 things I really focus on. And I think whether or not you have a role lined up, there are a few things that you definitely that overlap. So again, just wrapping things up. Um, First is closing the old role, making sure you acknowledge all the successes, the learnings, and the achievements that you've done. Second is make sure that you take care of your health and fitness mentally, physically. And then the third thing is prepare for the new role, make sure that you're ready for it, courses that is needed, and so on. Fourth thing is any of the projects that you're really passionate about, but you haven't had time to do them, just make sure that you do that before the new role, at least start them. And then the fifth and the last thing is take a holiday. You've earned it. You have a new job. You've probably went through a lot as well, whether through the interviews, whether through the handovers or closing the roles. It is a lot. So you've earned that holiday. Enjoy it. Um, I think that's it for me. I just thought to share with you that what I'm doing at the moment, and let me know if you want me to elaborate on anything or share more stuff. Um, Next week, I'll be sharing more about what I do in terms of data and emerging tech as well, in preparation for a new role, or what I ask normally in interviews and discussions within the organization, because I think that's again something that is important. Um, if you're watching live, thank you very much. And hello again, Nandika. And yeah, just feel free to put your thoughts in the chat, whether you're watching on the replay on YouTube or on LinkedIn. Again, thank you from me. And hopefully, I'll see you again in the next live video, hopefully next week. Have a